Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to review our generator setup at our current residence. I mentioned it briefly on the sit down, one of my first videos, that we did some preparation at our current house, and so today I'm going to walk you through how we have our generator set up. So if you want to follow me over to the electrical panel, we'll start here and then work our way to the generator and then give you an in-depth view of how I have it set up there. So first things first, before I open the panel, might need to get around here. I had electricians come out and they did the install for this part. I mean, I could have done it, I just wasn't comfortable doing it, but they basically put an RV jack plug-in 50 amp twist plug here. So I plug my generator plug right into there, and then that runs into our main breaker box. And they added a 50 amp or 60 amp breaker right here for the generator with the manual transfer switch. So basically what this does is it won't let me flip the generator on while the main power or the main breaker's on. I think that's code. I don't know in Texas if it's code or not, but so power's out. You come out here, flip your main breaker off, flip all of your other breakers off, leave your generator breaker off for now. Come out here, crank your generator up, which I'll show you momentarily, and then plug the cable. After it's been running a few minutes, plug your cable in here and have it plugged in. Then come back up and flip your generator breaker on, and then flip on whatever you think you need. I got a big enough generator I think we can run the entire house off of. It's, as you'll see in a minute, it's a 13,000 watt peak, 11,000 running watts running on gasoline. I think it's 10,500 or 10,000 on propane, which at that will nearly run everything in my house, minus maybe the water heater, the stove, all of that running at the same time. So what I would do is, once I have the generator breaker on, I probably would go ahead and do the whole sub panel. It doesn't have any of the big stuff on it, but that'll get my lights and most of the majority of the inside of the house. And then if it's really cold outside, I might come in and flip on the furnace. I don't know. We'd have to play it by ear on what we think we needed. I don't want to push it. I think I could run all of it, but I would come out here and selectively choose what we needed at the time. But the sub panel we could definitely have on and then choose whatever else we needed. So before I open the generator box, I want to give a few what I would do over again. One, in the Texas heat, this plastic bin has been warping. The heat just during the summer, if you notice, I have a big brick over here. This end is kind of just, I don't know, it's cheaply made. I probably would have gone with a metal bin or maybe something a little bit more, I don't know, expensive or better made. I'll post a link to this particular shed in the description, along with everything else that's inside of here. Maybe you can make a better choice, but that's the one thing I would probably do over if we had to start it over again. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Yes, I have a lock on here with rubber locks where anybody could easily come with scissors or something. It's to keep the honest man out. So don't hate because of my setup here to lock it. So if you want to come take a closer look inside here, I'll show you what we have going on. I have a Duramax 13,000 hybrid generator, or sorry, not a hybrid, dual fuel, meaning it can run propane, off propane, or gasoline. I've currently only run it on gasoline. I hear tales with the smaller propane tanks, it doesn't really utilize the fuel well. You have to really have a bigger tank to get the pressure needed for it. So once we move out to the land and then take this with us, we might change it over to propane if we get a bigger tank. Anyway, things to come. Before I get started in the generator, just kind of want to show you around over here. I have a attic exhaust fan. Again, I will post a link in the description where I got this. I got it from Amazon. It works beautifully to exhaust the hot air out. I don't know if you can see. If you want to get right here, you can see I have the exhaust from the generator piped outside to the outside here of the little generator shed. I probably would have done this differently and had one that just funneled down or funneled up. I couldn't find one at Home Depot, and I didn't really feel like going and hunting, so that's what I have. And then I wrapped the exhaust pipe with exhaust wrap that I got from AutoZone. We might take a look at what I still have some left, so I could show you the packaging. That basically keeps it from getting too hot. The pipe that I have exhausting out getting too hot inside here. In the back, I have concrete board. I saw somebody else's YouTube video, and somebody in the comments posted that it might be better to put cement or concrete board back here to keep the heat from melting the plastic. Maybe it helps with sound deadening. I don't know. Anyways, I went with it. So I put it here, and I put it here, and basically that's all. And then I put it on the floor down here, everywhere where I think that heat would would melt the plastic. Again, this is by no means an end all. Other people have put sound deadening, that reflective stuff inside of there, which probably works just as well too. I just decided to go with cement board. And again, I've been running this thing every week for 30 minutes, and I haven't had any issues with heat build up in here or anything. I've got a temperature gun, and I shot it all around in here, and I think maybe the hottest it got was maybe 90 degrees Fahrenheit. For you Canadian and other people that don't do Fahrenheit, whatever, figure that up in Celsius. But the hottest part was just on the exhaust, but the rest of it, it never really got too hot, so I felt comfortable with my setup. Again, before I get into the generator, just to give you an overview over here, I have an intake for air, cold air. So basically cold air goes in down here, and then that attic exhaust fan pumps the hot air out. So, and then everywhere I read, they said to put your intake in low and your exhaust up high. And basically it creates a wind tunnel inside of there, and it definitely it does a good job of keeping it cool. So let's dive into the generator here. On top, I have the RV cable, 50 amp cable that plugs in to the outlet here. Then I run it through my little hole I dug through the cement board. And then out. I won't do the whole thing here. And then it basically goes in there and turns and locks. Again, I'll have to remember how to do all that, but yeah. So that's the plug. You have your 50 amp plug here, 220. 30 amp or 240, whatever, 30 amp, your 120, which is 30 amp, I believe, and then another 120 30 amp with a different plug. It's a battery or electric start or crank pull. All right, so to crank it up, you're going to want to switch. This should have been on storage. I just ran it today. I want to run it again for you guys. You're going to switch it to the fuel of choice, propane or gas. I'm running gas, so I had to switch on gasoline. There's also another switch you can't see with the camera that's here on the back that you're going to flip up vertical, and that basically gives fuel to the carburetor. You're going to flip on the battery switch. If there wasn't such light, you'd see it light up. And then you're going to hit the start button here and hold it. And then it cranks up. Now, if we were simulating a power outage, we would let this run until it runs smooth. Since I've already ran it today, it's going to run smooth quickly, but if it hadn't been started in a while, it takes a moment to get up to speed. If you come over here, it's got a display where you can switch it. 240 volt, frequency 61. We'll not talk this over again. That's total runtime, and I'll say it over again where you can hear me. So there's a panel on there that shows the voltage, the frequency in hertz, total runtime, and current runtime. It's a really good thing to have, so you'll know when you do your maintenance on it. So if you didn't have the panel, you'd have to kind of just guess or have a clock to see when you needed to do the maintenance. So I really like it. It helps me know when I need to do it. So to turn it off properly, the manual states that if you're not going to run it within a week, you want to flip that valve that we showed earlier from vertical to horizontal, and that cuts the fuel off to the carburetor, and it basically burns all the fuel out of the lines, so you don't have that fuel sitting in there. You'll hear it here in a moment start to wind down. Give it just a second. And our nosy little dog is looking through the window, seeing what's going on. Now that's the proper way to shut it down if you don't plan on starting it up again in a week. But if you're going to plan on running it again, like within a couple hours or the next day, you could go ahead and leave that vertical, and then you can hit the stop where I started it. You hit the stop button, and that will stop the engine automatically. We'll come in again here. Once it cuts off, I forget to do this often. You should flip this back to storage, and that's pretty much it on starting and stopping the generator. And then you'll want to flip off the battery switch to off, or it'll drain your battery. Now another thing that I've heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but you typically want to run your generator with something running on it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I hear the generator portion of it will go out on you if you're not running anything. Don't take that to heart. You can Google it. So I do, when I'm running this, I'll flip the circuit breaker on normally to cut the exhaust fan on, and that's my one thing running on it when I have the generator running when I test for 30 minutes each week. So that's pretty much it. I use non-ethanol fuel. So that's pretty much it on the generator and the hookup. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Hopefully I gave you a good idea of where to plug in on the generator, how I have my setup to the house. Something I missed is cost, which is important. So the install by the electricians to do the RV port or 50 amp plug and the circuit breaker, I paid way more than I should have. a lot more. It was like $1,100 for this whole setup in the panel. But it's certified by an electrician and whatever. I probably could have done it for myself, by myself, for like $200 or $300. $1,100 here. The cable, which I'll post the description in Amazon. I'll have as much as I can in the description on Amazon for all this. This cable was like $150. I had to switch the plug out. It came with a straight plug. I have very little room in here, so I had to switch it to a flat plug. I got this at Home Depot. Should be easy to find, a 50 amp plug. The generator was, I believe, $1,300 or $1,400. Got it on Amazon. The exhaust fan was $80 off of Amazon. And the shed was, I think, $150 or $160. Again, I'll post the description and links to all of this stuff so you can go and look. I'm sure prices have changed since then with everything going on in the world. So you can go and look and see. But that's pretty much a summary of costs. So the total was about $3,500 altogether. So not too bad considering if you go and buy one of those Generac automatic transfers, they're like $10,000–$15,000. So this is a poor man's version of that. So next we're going to go inside and we're going to show the other things that we bought for preparation. So, you know, in case we have a failure here, we still have backups with some other items that we bought. Again, you know, we suffered pretty badly here in Texas this year, so we bought things that will accommodate us to cook food and other things in case we ever go without power for 5 days again. So walk inside with me and let's go take a look at that. Now that we're inside, we're going to go review over all of the other items that we got along with the generator here. So to start off, we'll start at the front of my bucket here. We have a Coleman propane grill because everything's electric where we're at. You know, we can't cook anything. So this is our stove. I got a 6-pack of these propane bottles. I'll probably stack up some more of these. So, and just so you know, I have it indoors currently, but these are not safe indoors. So you definitely want to take this outside if you're cooking. Carbon monoxide build up and you will die. Let's move on to our next item. We're going to move this to the side for a minute. No home is without power outage or with. This is just good to have regardless, which is a first aid kit. This is one we got off Amazon. Again, I will link everything that we got here in the description. This is a 350 piece. There's probably better ones than that out there. I won't go over everything in this kit, but there is a lot of first aid kits out there, and this is good to have regardless. The next item is going to be our indoor portable propane heaters. These are, according to their website, these are safe to use indoors. And they run off propane, the same bottle that the Coleman does. These small, I think these are 1 liter, 16 ounce, 1 pound propane bottles. They run off of these. I bought 2 of these. So in case the generator doesn't run the heat, or we don't have enough power, or we don't want to run the generator, or we don't want to run the heater on the generator, and we could put these in our room and we can run these while we're sleeping. The next item is we got these combo flashlights. They're a flashlight. They have a red flashing light. I believe that's the SOS light. And they also lift up and turn into a lantern. They run off of, I believe, 4 AA batteries, 3 AA batteries. And they're magnetic on the bottom, so you can, if I get this thing back on here, so you can stick them to anything metal. And I bought 4 of these. The next item on our list are these water filter straws. These are, I believe, .001 microns. I'll link the description. Again, these are good. Shelf life of 5 years. Most of this stuff I have dates on. You'll see at the end here I have a checklist, but I wrote the date of when it expires on the package itself, so we'll know. I'm sure they last a lot longer than that, but to be safe, they do have right on the packaging 5 years. The next item we got here are a big box load of candles. You know, this is the backup to the backup. I think we got 6 big candles here, so we can have lighting and a source of heat. Not much, but some. We got some candle tray holders with that. So, in case all else fails, we have the good old-fashioned candles. These are the candle tray holders, so they don't get wax on your countertops. We bought some hand warmers. Again, when we had the power outage, our house was nearly, I think it was like 40 degrees in here, and our hands were freezing. So, you know, you put these in your hands, get them to warm up. I think we got like a 20 or 30 pack of these. Maybe more than that. I see 2 baggies here. Another thing that we bought is this was a big, let's see if it has the, I don't know, this one was huge. I'll link the description, but I think this will charge a phone, like an iPhone, like 5 times off one charge. This is a very big battery. I'll link it in the description on Amazon. Again, we had to be in our vehicles to charge our phones. It sucked bad. The next item is we bought a Jackery. This is I believe this is a Explorer 160. I'm looking for the wattage here. I think it's a 100 watt max continuous 150 watt surge. This will definitely charge your cell phones, your laptops, and it'll run your smaller appliances. We bought the solar panel kit that goes with it, and this works really, really well. I've already tested this several times. It charges this Jackery device very fast. If you have full sun, I think you can charge that thing in 3 or 4 hours full. Some of the bigger Jackery units, it takes a little bit longer. You have to have more panels, but this works really, really well. And then in case you don't have sun, it also came with a kit of other cables here. You can plug it into your 12 volt in your car, cigarette lighter. Or, you know, if you have a generator power and you do have some power, it'll plug into the wall and charge. Very great kit. You know, I've been really impressed with this thing. We've already taken it out on the property, and my wife has charged her phone. I've charged my phone. I think she's even had her laptop in here and has charged it. It comes in handy. I really recommend these Jackeries, especially with the solar panels. And let's see, I think the last thing else that we got here are batteries, which half of them are coming out because the magnetics are sucking the batteries out. But we bought a We got a little battery tray holder with a battery tester. Let me put these batteries back in here, and I'll test one out. But basically this will slide out, and then you know, see that your batteries are good. Now all of this stuff I test quarterly, probably overkill. And we bought a French press to make coffee with. So that's our little survival kit. Again, there's probably a lot of other stuff that we can get. These are just some of the items that we thought of. Yes, again, and you'll definitely need food and provisions along with water. I'll show you our cases of water here in a second. Or actually, I don't know how well the lighting is in there. Anyways, water's pretty self-explanatory. I would recommend getting at least a week, if not 2 weeks supply of water. Food that'll store. You know, some people say to prep for 2 days. Some people say to prep for a week. It's really up to you. Again, we were without power for 5 days, so we prepped for about a week's worth of power outage. So kits vary on what your needs are, but this is a demonstration of ours. So.